As you guys know, last week, I covered a video where the TikTok claimed a tourist was visiting North Korea and was able to sneak a camera into the downtown and capture some secret footage. Of course, we did end up debunking that. You are actually allowed to record in North Korea. You just have to have guides with you at all times telling you what to record. But a lot of people were wondering, if it's not that strict, then why not visit? Well, believe it or not, there is actually somewhat of a tourism industry in North Korea. There are quite a few countries that are allowed to visit there, and you have two airline options to fly in. You have Air Koryo, which is North Korea's official airline, and you also have Air China. But with you guys being my audience, and the majority of you guys residing in the United States, I have some bad news. If you want to visit North Korea, you probably will not be able to do so, at least not anytime soon. And the story that we're talking about in this video of Otto Warmbier is one of the main factors that played in to the United States not being allowed to visit North Korea. So let me introduce you guys to Otto Warmbier. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, back on December 12th of 1994. He was the eldest of 3 children, and he was a very studious kid and very popular as well. He graduated in 2013, he studied abroad, and he was really into traveling, having gone to places like Israel, Europe, Cuba, and Ecuador. And because Otto was such an avid traveler, he decided that in early 2016, he was going to do another study abroad program in Hong Kong. However, because he was going all that way out there, he figured, I might as well visit North Korea as well, since it's relatively close, and get another additional experience here, which makes sense. North Korea is somewhere not a lot of people have been. Now, as many of you guys would recall, if you are going to visit North Korea, you don't have the freedom to just walk around and do whatever you want to. You do need to have a guided tour, so they make sure you don't go places you're not supposed to. That being said, Otto ended up scheduling a tour with a company that had a pretty ominous catchphrase. The tour group that he went with was called Young Pioneer Tours, and their slogan was "Destinations your mother would rather you stayed away from." This was going to be an omen to what was going to come in the future. So, on December 29th of 2015, Otto flew into North Korea from Beijing with 10 other individuals that were part of his group for their New Year's tour, which lasted in total 5 days. The first portion of the trip actually went pretty well. For the first few days, the group traveled around in their guided tour. They ended up celebrating New Year's Eve in one of the town squares, and eventually retired back to Yanggakdo Hotel, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, where Otto would actually attempt to take a propaganda poster that was hanging on the wall. Initially in doing this, Otto really didn't realize the situation that he had just caused and the danger that he put himself in, or at least he thought he hadn't been caught. New Year's Day rolled around, he woke up like usual, went about his business in North Korea, and finally on January 2nd of 2016 is when he was slated to go back to Beijing with the rest of the tour group. However, while sitting in Pyongyang International Airport awaiting their departure back to Beijing, 2 guards ended up walking up to Otto and tapping him on the shoulder, asking him to go with them. The group jokingly said, "That's the last we'll see of you," and they really didn't know that this was way more accurate than they thought it was going to be. Pretty quickly though, the group did realize that the situation was very serious after their plane was about to leave the terminal, and an officer came on board and said that Otto has been very sick and taken to a hospital. This would be the last time that they ever saw him in person. After Otto's detainment, news of this spread very quickly, and North Korea was forced to make a statement saying that he had performed a hostile act against their nation. Eventually, 6 weeks went by without anyone really realizing what had happened, until eventually Otto had a press conference where he stated that he attempted to steal a propaganda poster from the hotel that he was staying in.
On the early morning of January 1st, 2016, I committed my crime of taking out the important political slogan from the staff-only area of the Yanggakdo International Hotel, aimed at harming the work ethic and the motivation of the Korean people.
If you're curious what this poster said, it simply said, "Let's arm ourselves strongly with Kim Jong-il's patriotism." You also might think to yourself, it seems like a pretty big overreaction here, detaining a person just for trying to take the poster, but really it's a giant deal in North Korea if you try to damage or take something that has the dictator's face on it. I would also like to point out that it's unclear as to whether or not Otto actually did try to take this poster. We don't really know whether or not he was forced to make this confession, and there was another reason that he was being held because of what happened later, and it just only gets even worse. It's more tragic. Finally, on March 16th of 2016, Otto's trial took place, and it only took 1 hour of evidence being shown for him to be found guilty and sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. They showed a variety of different evidence during this, including the confession that was, again, most likely not made by him, and a very grainy CCTV footage of him at 1:57 a.m. picking up the poster and then putting it on the ground. So keep in mind, he didn't even get the poster into his bag, he just left it there. Now, of course, this sentencing was already bad enough, and a lot of human rights groups were understandably very upset about it. But things got even worse because in April, a month after his sentencing, he would end up falling into a coma from which he would never wake. The medical professionals and officials in North Korea claimed that Otto had consumed something with botulism in it. For those that don't know, this is an extremely potent and deadly toxin that causes paralysis, causes death, and can have the potential to put you into a coma. Despite the fact, though, that Otto had fallen into this dire condition not very long after his sentencing, they really didn't say anything about this or notify anybody until much later, and it wasn't even until 2017, an entire year and a few months after this whole entire thing happened, that he was finally released back to the care of the United States and to be with his parents. Specifically, Otto arrived back to Cincinnati on the evening of June 13th, and after seeing how unresponsive he was, his parents did request that his feeding tube be removed, and he passed away only 6 short days later on June 19th of 2017. In the aftermath of this tragedy, there were of course a lot of people who were very vocal and furious with North Korea and how poorly they handled this situation. Also, on September 1st of 2017, not long after Otto passed away, they of course did end up banning US travel to North Korea, and Otto was a very large factor in this. So now you guys know the tragic tale of Otto Warmbier and why a lot of people understandably do not trust traveling to North Korea. As always, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Drop a comment letting me know what you want to see next. I also do have my Patreon linked in the description here if you guys want to check that out and help support the channel. Thank you to all of you guys who are already subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.